How are you? Good morning. Time for another reading of A Ballad of a Sad Calf, The Ballad of a Sad Calf by Carson McCullers. We're up to page 17. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm trying to, do the best job I can reading. And let's get started. Feel free to turn your screen off if you want. Just sit back and listen to this beautiful, beautiful story. Page 17. Above the store there were the 3 rooms where Miss Amelia had lived during all her life. 2 bedrooms with a large parlour in between. Few people had even seen these rooms, but it was generally known that they were well furnished and extremely clean. And now Miss Amelia was taking up with her a dirty little hunchback stranger, come from God knows where. Miss Amelia walked slowly, 2 steps at a time, holding the lamp high. The hunchback hovered so close behind her that the swinging light made on the staircase wall one great twisted shadow of the 2 of them. Soon the premises above the store were dark as the rest of the town. The next morning was serene, with a sunrise of warm purple mixed with rose. In the fields around the town the furrows were newly ploughed, and very early the tenants were at work, setting out the young, deep green tobacco plants. The wild crows flew down close to the fields, making swift blue shadows on the earth. In town the people set out early with their dinner pails, and the windows of the mill were blinding gold in the sun. The air was fresh, and the peach trees light as March clouds with their blossoms. Miss Amelia came down at about dawn, as usual. She washed her head at the pump and very shortly set about her business. Later in the morning she saddled her mule and went to see about her property, planted with cotton, up near the Forks Falls Road. By noon, of course, everybody had heard about the hunchback who had come to the store in the middle of the night, but no one as yet had seen him. The day soon grew hot, and the sky was a rich midday blue. Still no one had laid an eye on this strange guest. A few people remembered that Miss Amelia's mother had had a half-sister, but there was some difference of opinion as to whether she had died or had run off with a tobacco stringer. As for the hunchback's claim, everybody thought it was a trumped-up business. And the town, knowing Miss Amelia, decided that surely she had put him out of the house after feeding him. But towards evening, when the sky had whitened and the shift was done, a woman claimed to have seen a crooked face at the window of one of the rooms up over the store. Miss Amelia herself said nothing. She clerked in the store for a while, argued for an hour with a farmer over a plough shaft, mended some chicken wire, locked up near sundown and went to her rooms. The town was left puzzled and talkative. The next day Miss Amelia did not open the store, but stayed locked up inside her premises and saw no one. Now this was the day that the rumour started. The rumour so terrible that the town and all the country about were stunned by it. The rumour was started by a weaver called Merle Ryan. He is a man of not much account, sallow, shambling, and with no teeth in his head. He has the 3-day malaria, which means that every 3rd day the fever comes on him. So on 2 days he is dull and cross, but on the 3rd day he livens up and sometimes has an idea or two, most of which are foolish. It was while Merle Ryan was in his fever that he turned suddenly and said, "I know what Miss Amelia done. She murdered that man for something in that suitcase." He said this in a calm voice as a statement of fact. And within an hour, the news had swept through the town. It was a fierce and sickly tale the town built up that day. In it were all the things which caused the heart to shiver. A hunchback, a midnight burial in the swamp, the dragging of Miss Amelia through the streets of the town on the way to prison, the squabbles over what would happen to her property. All told in hushed voices and repeated with some fresh and weird detail. It rained and women forgot to bring in the washing from the lines. One or two mortals who were in debt to Miss Amelia even put on Sunday clothes, as though it were a holiday. People clustered together on the main street, talking and watching the store. It would be untrue to say that all the town took part in this evil festival. There were a few sensible men who reasoned that Miss Amelia, being rich, would not go out of her way to murder a vagabond for a few trifles of junk. In the town, there were even 3 good people, and they did not want this crime, not even for the sake of the interest and the great commotion it would entail. It gave them no pleasure to think of Miss Amelia holding to the bars of the penitentiary and being electrocuted in Atlanta. These were good people, judged Miss Amelia. These good people judged Miss Amelia in a different way from what the others judged her. When a person is as contrary in every single respect as she was, and when the sins of a person have amounted to such a point that they can hardly be remembered all at once, then this person plainly requires a special judgment. They remembered that Miss Amelia had been born dark and somewhat queer of face, raised motherless by her father, who was a solitary man, that early in youth she had grown to be 6 feet 2 inches tall, which in itself is not natural for a woman, and that her ways and habits of life were too peculiar ever to reason about. Above all, they remembered her puzzling marriage, which was the most unreasonable scandal ever to happen in this town. So these good people felt towards her something near to pity. And when she was out on her wild business, such as rushing in a house to drag forth a sewing machine in payment for a debt, or getting herself worked up over some matter concerning the law, they had towards her a feeling which was a mixture of exasperation, a ridiculous little inside tickle, and a deep unnameable sadness. But enough of the good people, for there were only 3 of them. The rest of the town was making a holiday of this fancied crime the whole afternoon. Miss Amelia herself, for some strange reason, seemed unaware of all this. She spent most of her day upstairs. When down in the store, she prowled around peacefully, her hands deep in the pockets of her overalls and her head bent so low that her chin was tucked inside the collar of her shirt. There was no blood stain on her anywhere. Often she stopped and just stood sombrely looking down at the cracks in the floor, twisting a lock of her short cropped hair and whispering something to herself. But most of the day was spent upstairs. Alright, we'll stop there. We're at page 21. And have a great day, everybody. Tell your friends about Art Wright's Place. We write memoirs and biographies and articles and contract writing and writing consultancy. And I hope you call in again in about 3 weeks' time. We're going to keep reading our way through this beautiful, beautiful story. Carson McCullers, she's one of the greatest writers that has ever lived. And I hope you have a great day, and hope you're enjoying it.